This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. We are continuing our week-long look at the memories from Las Vegas shows, specifically the Mobile Beat DJ Conference, which a lot of us have been to. Well, right now I've got my good friend Dean Carlson here. Dean, good evening.
Hey, John. How are you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we've been reminiscing with a lot of different writers from the Disc Jockey News this week about the Mobile Beat Conference because we've been there and enjoyed the show. I'm up to you. Let's start off from the beginning. When did you first go to the Mobile Beat show?
The first year I went was actually 2004.
Okay.
I had attended actually your conference first, or maybe it was Map DJ at that time, but I went to the Map DJ conference, ran into Mark Ferrell at that show, and I was like in awe of, wow, DJs can get along and actually share information. And, I had been DJing for probably 13, 14 years up to that point. And, been flying solo, and it was this very unique experience for me. So all of a sudden, this whole world opened up to me, and I thought, man, I got to have more. And I heard about Mobile Beat, and I thought, well, man, 1,000 DJs getting together? No way. And I said, I'm going the next chance I got, and I was on the flight that year. And it was end of January, beginning of February 2004. Nice. I believe it was still at the Tropicana at that time.
Yes.
And that was a fun hotel overall. I enjoyed that for sure.
Yeah.
And when I got there, wow, I was taken aback at A, how many people were there, and B, how nice they were. So it was awesome.
Yeah. So you had a little experience, of course, that fall in 2003.
Right.
Now, as you were getting on the airplane or getting ready to go to the show for the first time in Las Vegas, what were some of the things kind of running through your mind?
Well, I remember thinking to myself, I wonder what this is going to be like. I mean, this is a national thing. I mean, there's a lot of DJs here. I wonder what the speakers are like because, I had been teased already, at the Map DJ convention at the speakers and what they were like. And I thought, man, they must be taking it to a whole new level up there.
Yeah.
And so I was really, really excited. I was really, at that point, I had been a club DJ for most of the time, and I'd just broken into the mobile market. So, I was anxious to learn more. I obviously had been inspired by Mark, but, I needed to get that fix of where am I going to go? How am I going to take this to the next level? And I knew that when I went to Mobile Beat, I knew that was going to happen, or at least I had hoped it was going to happen. Sure. That was the anticipation for sure.
Yeah. Once you got there and you were experiencing the show, what are some things that were kind of a maybe a little bit of a surprise or some highlights from that first show?
Well, obviously the first day you walk in the room and they do that big session together. Again, I heard how many people were going to be there. But until you actually get in a room with that many DJs, and you're just like, whoa! I mean, I can't believe this many people want to better themselves at their craft. And how did they all know about it before me?
Yes.
But I look back now, and I don't understand how even more aren't doing that. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me to think that we probably have well over 1,000 DJs in Minnesota, and if we just took all the DJs from Minnesota, we still wouldn't have as many people that went to Mobile Beat. So that's always that dream. I hope that people someday get that and attend something like this and just take it for what it is. But for me, I got in that room and I was like, dang, man, wow. And the hotel, the Tropicana was nice. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that experience totally. At that time, they did food. They provided snack stuff out in the hallway, above the coffee and stuff. That was part of your admission. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. I sure enjoyed that. Yeah.
And then after the show was over, how did that change the way you were dealing with the business and things back at home once you came back?
Well, at that time I was working for Pro Sound and Light Show, the large multi-op in Duluth, Minnesota, mm-hmm. and so my responsibility was hiring and training 25 DJs. All of a sudden, I got inspired. Yes. I mean, to a super high level. So I came back extremely fired up, and that's contagious. You come back into a room with all these other DJs, and you're fired up about your craft, and they're going, man, this guy's been DJing for 13 years, and wow, if he's getting fired up, gosh, I got to get fired up. He must have some pretty cool information.
Yes.
So there was that aspect of it. That I got to train some other people in some of the things that I saw, but B, on a more personal level, I was just excited to get a fresh, something fresh to what I was doing already. I got a little bit of confirmation that I was doing some things right, which was very nice, or at least, yeah, or, I like that. Not that you should always judge what you're doing by what everybody else is doing, but, there is some of that confirmation, like, okay, weddings are done like this, and other people are doing this, but they're doing it with this twist.
Yeah.
So, and me, I'm a super social guy. So, I got out in the rooms and I started making friends immediately at that conference. I was hanging around with different people right off the bat.
And that's a big part of it, I think, for all of us, is that time to just go there and hang out with, meeting new friends, but rekindling the relationships of people that we don't see that often.
Right. Well, I mean, now that I think I've only missed one mobile beat in the last 10 years. So this will be my 11th year, or the 11th year since I started. But one of the great things about all of that is every year I get to see people like Dave Lewis, from Hawaii. He's such a great guy. And, it's almost like we haven't skipped a beat when we get back together.
Yeah.
We get together, we have dinner, in his room we do the drunk tank thing, which is a lot of fun. I at least watch them get drunk since I don't drink.
Yeah.
But but it's outstanding. Yeah, I love that aspect of it for sure. Yeah.
So over the years, you mentioned, of course, the connecting with friends and such. But what are a couple of other highlights that you've over the years that have been kind of maybe an aha moment? What do you got for us?
Sure. Well, it wasn't the first year. It was the second year that I went out there, and things changed a lot for me. All of a sudden, this whole world opened up for me. So I came back out, and I made some friends out there, and a gentleman from Chicago was doing this think tank thing, and I had just heard glimpses of it. So I was like, I got to get into that, and I think it was Bill Hermann who was going to it, and he mentioned it to me, and I ended up, kind of trailing along into this room. And that was a whole nother experience altogether. You came into this room and all of a sudden people are, taking one idea and they're exploding it, So I got to know a lot of people, doing things. That was the first time I met Jim Sharon was in that room. So that was one of the benefits. And the content, those first few years, I had never heard anything like that before. So it was like drinking information from a fire hose. I probably, if I were to pull out my first few notebooks, because I'm an avid notebook taker at these events, I probably had 3 times as much notes as I would take this year. But I go with a whole different mindset now. I know a lot of more stuff than I used to. But now I can target focus certain things that I really want to work on and tweak. I know what I don't know.
Sure.
So I dig into that aspect of it. And then this is a mistake I think a lot of people make when they go to conferences and stuff like this. They go, oh, I've seen this guy speak 100 times. He's doing the same message or something like that. And, I've seen several presenters, say the same message. And, it's always good because you come in there. Like last year, I was one of the winners of the VIP treatment at Mobile Beat, and Jim Sharon did his Perfect Host seminar for the VIPs. Well, I've seen Jim Sharon's seminar on the Perfect Host at least 2 times before that, because he did it at the American Disc Jockey Association conference in Chicago the year it was there.
Yeah.
And then I saw it here, and I'm telling you, I walked out because it was like you take the notes and you take those first few things that are really, really needy for you. You're like, oh man, I need to do this, or oh man, I need to do that, and you take that and you implement it. So you grow. But then you forget about those littler things that you haven't seen before. So all of a sudden you're reminded of that, and then not only do you go back to your old notes and see what you wrote about that and why it was important or not important at the time, but it expands you again. And it happened again this year. I mean, 3rd time I've seen that seminar, still getting information out of it.
Yeah.
So
That's a very good point. Very good point. Well, we've got the next show coming up, of course, in February. It's a
Yep.
different look, different feel. What are you kind of looking forward to with this upcoming show?
Well, this year, one of my coworkers, Barb, is going with me. She's one of the people that helps edit your newspaper. She's never been before,
Oh, nice.
so that's always exciting.
Yes.
I'm probably the thing I'm most excited about is to see what Bill and Jason have cooked up. You know, some of the things you see about trade shows, I've always wondered is that, you know, we're disc jockeys. How come, you know, when we walk in and, you know, the main stage presenter, we don't have some of that wow factor?
Yep.
And I really think that Bill and Jason are going to bring that this year, because I've actually talked to Bill and Jason. They haven't divulged any of their secrets, but I said that to them, and they were like, yeah, that's some of the stuff we're working on. We want this to just stick to you.
Yeah.
That they knew a guy that got Penn Jillette to come in and speak to us. You know, as a performer, you know, I don't care that he doesn't DJ. He is a performer that you know does it for millions of people. You know, he has got something that he can teach me as a performer.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm psyched about that. Brian Dodge, I've seen him a couple times. He's outstanding. I can't wait to see him again. And then Mark Ferrell, of course, because you know Mark was that first inspiration for me to start taking this to another level. You know, Mark, you know, that first Getting What You're Worth, you know, speeches that he was doing in, you know, the early 2000s, you know, can be traced back to inspiring a lot of people.
Very much so, yeah.
But he changes it every time. The last time he spoke in Vegas a few years back, you know, his message was slightly different, and he'll do it again this year. I'm absolutely sure of it. And so I'm looking forward to his seminar and seeing old friends too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. For those of you watching, if you'd like to find out more information about the show coming up here in February, at the end of February, you can go out to mobilebeat.com, and at the top there is the show, the Mobile Beat Las Vegas show. Click on that. The schedule is pretty much up, the dates, the how to buy passes. The pass price right now, they still are discounted until January 1st. So if you want to go, you need to jump in there, buy yourself a pass, and we will see you in February. Dean, I want to thank you. It was kind of a fun walk down memory lane once again.
Thanks so much. You missed my best point.
Oh,
I got to play craps with Tone Loc for 8 hours one night.
No way.
I'm not joking. It was so fun at Mobile Beat Conference because he was performing there and he was the nicest guy. Anyways, it was so cool. That was it.
Hanging out with Tone Loc for 8 hours.
Yeah. Playing craps.
That would be an interesting night.
It was. He was so nice. So nice. And he won a lot of money.
Yeah,
Not me, but he did.
I sat next to a gentleman on one of the blackjack tables one night, and here I'm, you know, doing the $2 bets, and,
Right.
and it was another very high end DJ, and he's putting out, it was $100 bets, and it's like, I'm just so, I felt like that, you know, the poor small town DJ there.
Does he know where I'm from?
Exactly.
I'm from Duluth.
Yeah, they don't make that much money up there at all.
Oh,
Great
gosh.
stuff. Great stuff. Dean, I'm looking forward to seeing you in February at this show. I think we're going to have a great time.
Okay. See you later, John.
All right. Thanks much. Thank you for watching. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. Good night.